Today is finally the day. The day we get to see Shane Bieber, the Blue Jays' biggest trade deadline acquisition, former Cy Young winner, on the mound for the first time in a Toronto Blue Jays uniform.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode brought to you by 5 Hour Energy for your chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. As always, I'm Brayden Wasco. He's Carter First. You can find us on Twitter, Brayden5 Wasco, Carter First too, as well on our main Twitter account at Locked On Jays. Make sure you guys head over there as well. Our Instagram and our TikTok at Locked On Blue Jays. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button already here on YouTube, you guys have been killing it, but keep that going. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that button. It's free. You might as well do it. You get your shorts, your podcasts, your live streams, your videos, the whole ordeal. And a special exclusive episode coming out tomorrow morning. So a nice little weekend episode for you guys as well. We have a interview that I did last Friday. We sort of saved, banked, and we're throwing it out this weekend for an exclusive for you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed that. So that's what sort of our plan is going to be with those, is give them to you guys on the weekend so it doesn't take away from the baseball that is being played. But it's also a nice, easy watch, listen, whenever you want to on the weekend, whether you're driving out somewhere or just in the car. There you go. Or if you're sitting at home eating breakfast, there you go. Carter, lots to get into today. Obviously, Shane Bieber's first start in a Toronto Blue Jays uniform. We're going to really dive into that, talk about that, give our thoughts and feelings on sort of the expectations we have around him, and maybe tempering the expectations of fans as well. We'll get into some fan questions that you guys have left in our comments over the last little bit that we wanted to address that maybe we didn't get to in the comments because we wanted to save them for a video like this for an off day. We also, of course, series preview, as we always do. We have all of that. So, Carter, now that I got the semantics out of the way, let's get right into it. Shane Bieber's first start, it is against the Marlins. How do you feel, my man? He's finally here.
Super excited to see a former Cy Young winner, Shane Bieber, pitch for the Toronto Blue Jays. Similar feelings to what I felt with Max Scherzer. Obviously, Max Scherzer was a completely different level, but it's excitement. This is not going to make the team worse. At least I hope it's not going to make the team worse. I don't know if it's unfair, but I have pretty high expectations for Bieber. I'm not sure if it's the AAA starts. I'm not sure if it's all the accolades, just maybe the name value as well. But I'm hoping that this goes really well for the Toronto Blue Jays, because the one area that this team could improve on is an upside pitcher, is an ace on the squad. And Shane Bieber does have the characteristics to be that ace. Just looking at some of the AAA stats. Again, this is AAA, so take it with a grain of salt. But you do like to see the length. You do like to see the effectiveness of Shane Bieber. A .06 whip, a .216 average, 37 strikeouts to only 3 walks, which is absolutely insane. Has given up three home runs and only 22 hits in 29 innings. A 1.86 ERA for Shane Bieber over those 29 innings. So it's been really good stuff from Shane Bieber. You go and you kind of get your feet wet against the Miami Marlins, who don't have a bad offense necessarily. So it's not like in the previous years where you kind of just would expect them to roll over. Again, not a great baseball team. You should be able to take advantage of this team offensively. So hopefully the Toronto Blue Jays can give this guy some run support. But I'm optimistic about what we're going to see with Shane Bieber, and just very excited to see just another guy be rolled out for the Toronto Blue Jays rotation, just full of guys with very strong careers and a lot of career accolades.
Yeah, Carter, and just taking it back to 2022, the last time that he pitched really a complete season, and his best season, I would say, obviously, with 31 games played, 13-8 with a 2.88 ERA, with 200 innings pitched, 198 strikeouts. He had a whip that season of 1.04. In the 2024, obviously, before he gets injured, he plays 2 games, wins 2 games, doesn't give up a run, with a .92 whip. Again, very, very, very small sample size. But the interesting part of all of this, I guess, is the expectations of everyone, not just the team, but the fan base themselves. And Shane Bieber, Carter, I'm not sure if you saw the video that the Toronto Blue Jays put out. I thought I was watching a marathon. That's how long that video was. It was ridiculous. They could have done a minute and a half hype video and I would have been thrilled, but instead it was like 19 minutes, I swear to God. But it does get me excited. That video got me pumped up for the return of Shane Bieber. And I guess I'll start it here. I'm going to phrase this a little bit differently. So I was on Sportsnet Radio. They asked me what my thoughts were or expectations for Shane Bieber. And my immediate thought was temper the expectations, at least for the first 3 starts. I think, again, this is a guy that's coming back off injury. He's going to have to re-find himself on the mound because the jump from AAA to the major leagues is astronomical. It is the most aggressive jump that you're going to see in any baseball league. The quality of hitters, the quality of players is such a big difference. So I would say for the first couple of games, as fans, we have to take a step back for a second. Look at what the good things he's bringing to the mound and be excited about those things, because this is a guy that's probably going to try to work on some things throughout the game and throughout the next couple games. As long as we can have the Shane Bieber that we sort of expect by playoff time, that's when I'm going to make my final judgments on if this guy should be where in the starting rotation. But for now, I'm holding myself back a little bit. Are you the same, or are you full in? I'm here for this guy. He's going to be good right off the jump.
Like you can be cautiously optimistic about it because you have seen him provide you that length. But again, the MLB is a completely different beast. Like this guy hasn't pitched in the major leagues since 2023. Like it has been a very long time. I don't care who you're playing against. It is going to be tough to kind of get your feet wet, no matter who you're playing against in the major league. So I think there is going to be a few mistakes, obviously, for Shane Bieber. So I would say don't set yourself up to be disappointed. Don't go into the game expecting him to throw 7 shutout innings. We can get Shane Bieber pitching into the 5th inning, for me, I think that's a very good start for the Toronto Blue Jays ball club. You want to obviously keep him in the game. I'm expecting him to give up probably around 4 runs in 4 or so innings. And if we can get something like that from Shane Bieber, but really just see the stuff, maybe see the command, see his pitches breaking, the slider, especially if he can be effective with that pitch, that's going to be something I'm looking for. So again, it's more so of the bigger picture rather just on that specific start for the Miami Marlins. There's going to be some hiccups in that baseball game. It's not going to be his best game of the season. There is going to be some progression to this. So I think I'm not expecting him to go out and pitch those 7 innings, but would I be necessarily surprised if he did? I don't think so, because we can definitely know that Shane Bieber still has a lot left to give in the tank, but hopefully we can get it sooner than later.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thought experiment, at least what's happening with this Toronto Blue Jays team, because you realistically had 5 viable starters. Now you're adding a 6th guy, and I know we've talked about this a lot, right? And I also got asked the same thing when it came to Alek Manoah, my thoughts on Alek Manoah, my thoughts on Trey Savage, which I guess we can get into later or maybe on a future episode because it's not that pressing. But this team has a lot of viable options up and down the starting rotation into the bullpen now with Eric Lauer. I guess I'm a little uncertain of where I stand with this starting rotation as a whole. Who should be where? Who should get what game? I think in my head, I have an idea right now, but the uncertainty, I guess, around Shane Bieber has to make you have a couple questions, right? So I guess I'm going to throw this out, and I didn't prep you or anything before the show. Right now, as it stands, you can have whatever you want to have in your head about Shane Bieber. What's your starting 3 in the playoffs look like right now?
Again, we've talked about this a lot on the podcast. It's the question that's going around Toronto Blue Jays media. It's tough to put a definitive answer on who I'm starting right now since I haven't seen Shane Bieber pitch. I can't put him in the starting rotation because it could go really, really good, or maybe he goes out there and goes 1 2/3 inning and lays an absolute dud. We haven't seen him once. If we get the Shane Bieber I expect, and he has, gets 5 6 starts, which we assume that he's going to get before the playoffs. I think Shane Bieber has to be in this starting rotation, but if it's like the playoffs are starting tomorrow, it's probably a Kevin Gausman start. I think you have to have Max Scherzer at number 2. And right now, I'm more comfortable with Chris Bassitt than I am Jose Berrios. Eric Lauer being moved to the bullpen kind of puts a wrench into things. But by the time, the playoffs come around, like my expectation for it, I think I'll save that for around that time. It's like for sure, this is what I want. But if the playoffs started tomorrow, like you can't have Shane Bieber in that playoff rotation just because you haven't seen it. And that's kind of the same take I had with Alek Manoah. Really, any injured pitcher that hasn't pitched in a long time and it's going to come back, I'm not trusting that guy over some guys that I've seen the day before or their last start or whatever it may be to go in rather than a guy that hasn't pitched in days, weeks, months, in this case with Shane Bieber, years.
Okay, give me your best case scenario. If everybody's playing well, who are the three guys you want starting? And this is a complete, hypothetical here, but it's almost where we're at because you have a month left. This is the question that's going around. Your ideal starting three, who would it be?
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much my expectation as well. So I guess I'll just give it to the people on this episode. I'll probably go over it, and hopefully it does not change by the end of it. But I want Shane Bieber being the opening day guy. If that would be the best case scenario, I think you gain the full trust in those 5 to 6 starts. You see what he can do for this Toronto Blue Jays team. That's who I would want. Is that who I think? I think they're going to go with Kevin Gausman. This guy is for sure in my playoff rotation, but a guy that's been here for multiple years. I would not be upset if Kevin Gausman was in the first game. But I think it's going to be either one of those two in the perfect world, Shane Bieber or Kevin Gausman. And then just what we've seen recently, again, knock on wood, barring any injury, but it's Max Scherzer. I mean, a guy that's done it so many times in his career, has won a World Series, has pitched in the big moments, is going to go out there, not let the moment get too big for him. And he's going to go out there with that same killer mentality that he goes out in spring training or in the World Series final in the 9th inning. Doesn't really matter where Max Scherzer's at. So that would be my ideal three. It'd be some sort of combination of Shane Bieber, Kevin Gausman, and Max Scherzer, probably with Eric Lauer coming out of the bullpen. And as it stands right now, it would be Chris Bassitt, but who would I like to be? I'd like it to be Jose Berrios because we see how gross the stuff can be. Not statistically a strikeout guy necessarily, but if we can get Jose Berrios back to form, I'd be a little bit more comfortable with him, I think, over Chris Bassitt.
Yeah, me and you have the same idea. Obviously, we spend way too much time together because that's exactly what I have. Max Scherzer for me, if you can get that guy at his best right now, I, I think you take that. You've seen how good he can be, and even this year, how good he has been. And it's hard for me to switch up on that. I guess my last thing, Carter, here for me and you to sort of discuss about Shane Bieber is not the first game, not the second game, not the third game. I'm thinking down the road to maybe his fourth appearance. What are you realistically thinking he can give us? Are you thinking that he's fully back by the fourth game, that he is 7 innings, sub 2 ERA, sub 3 ERA? Where are you sort of standing?
Well, sub 3 ERA. And after the first 3 games, like that's already taken you into September. How much longer are we going to wait to see the stuff from Shane Bieber? So ideally, I'd say for sure by that fourth game, you want to see something that's going to give you at least some confidence in starting Shane Bieber in that playoff scenario. But I just want to backtrack quickly to the Chris Bassitt and Jose Berrios thing. For right now, for me, that's a flip of the coin. Like, I don't think it's really like Jose Berrios is so much farther than Chris Bassitt. I think they're going to fluctuate for the rest of the season. So I don't really care in that scenario. If it's Jose Berrios, if it's Chris Bassitt, I think they're both good pitchers. They're both guys that can go and get you outs. But that's kind of what my take is on that situation. Yeah, but with Bieber, like the sooner the better, obviously. But I'm giving him 3 starts. You get 3 starts to kind of work your stuff out. You had a ton of rehab starts. Like this has been going on for a month now. That was your opportunity to stretch out and hopefully work out most of the kinks. You do have some more refinery in the major leagues, but by, early to mid-September, I think we got to see Shane Bieber and what he's got for this playoff rotation. Hopefully he can implement himself right in the middle of that.
So are you thinking like 70 pitches, 75 pitches for his first outing?
Start?
Yeah.
I mean, he's ramped up. I don't see why he couldn't go, 90, 95 if he's pitching effectively. So I think it's all based off performance, really. I don't think there should be any setbacks. There shouldn't be any limitations for Shane Bieber. There's this significant wrap-up period, and he's had some time off. I know he had a setback in his rehab appearances, but this has not been a rushed process whatsoever. They've already been extremely cautious with this entire thing. So what else are you really waiting for? Like, if it's not going well, for sure, like you're not going to throw 100 pitches if he's giving up 1 million runs. But if he's, in the 6th inning and he's only thrown 75 pitches, why not roll him out again for the 7th? He should be ready for that for the Toronto Blue Jays team with just everything that he's done to prepare for this.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you that just so I could now follow up with this. This is one of the slowest recoveries from Tommy John that has been given to a pitcher. It is up there. This is such a long recovery process, and like Carter mentioned, it is because of the setback. But this is a guy that's had lots of time. And they were very careful with him because I think they knew he could possibly be a trade piece. So, why rush a guy back and have him have 2 bad starts and then the trade value is so much lower. And now that he's had even more time to find his game and retune everything, I'm right there with you. I think whatever he can give you, you let him give you, because this is a ball club that is looking for the ace, and this could be our guy. Carter, and talking about, we're going to talk about Shane Bieber in the third segment as well, obviously previewing the series. But we did want to get into some of your guys' questions and comments from previous episodes that we found really interesting, or that we have maybe an answer to that we thought would be good for the podcast. So we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with all that right after this.
Today's episode is sponsored by 5-Hour Energy Transfusions. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings all the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with your friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little push to power through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. I was actually in another golf tournament. I've been in a bunch recently. August is a very busy month for the podcast, for my personal life and sports. We play slow pitch golf, but again, was in another golf tournament. And again, luckily, I am stocked up on those 5-hour energy transfusions, because with my busy schedule, I need to pick me up from time to time, and I go to the great flavor of the 5-hour energy transfusion. It is the perfect boost I need in the middle of my day to keep me going and hit some birdie putts. I had a couple of those today, and those definitely felt really good. So golf is all about the good times with good people and the good flavors. The grape, ginger, and lime flavor of 5-hour energy transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf vacation for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025.
So, Carter, continuing on, I know you have some questions that you want to throw at me. I have some questions that I want to throw at you. And these are all from you guys in the comments section that have left us notes and that, we obviously want to talk about. So we're going to get into it. Carter, I'll let you start it off because I know you have yours pulled up right away, and then we can sort of go one for one with these things, I think.
Yeah, I have some questions, some statements. So this is going to be like us kind of reacting to what you guys said and our opinions on it, then also just answering some of the questions you guys had. So the first one I'm going to start with was one of the, I guess, more controversial moves, but a move that had to be made. It had to do with the Toronto Blue Jays starting rotation. We talked about Shane Bieber's entire first segment, making his first start the day that this is recorded, the Friday against the Marlins. Somebody needed to be moved to the bullpen, and that was Eric Lauer. This is a comment that we got on that episode we were talking about it. This is from Tire Master Tubbies. Lauer's reward for playing well is to become Bieber's mop-up man. Expecting Bieber to go 4 in his first start back is unrealistic. Lauer has to be pissed. How do you think Eric Lauer is feeling right now after probably being arguably the most consistent pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, kind of, going from Japan last year, signing that minor league contract, working back to the major leagues, starting in the bullpen, earning himself rightfully so, a spot in that starting rotation? If you're Eric Lauer with all the work you put in, are you a little bit upset with how things have kind of worked out for you and your performances this season?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I totally understand where that comment is coming from. I think this is more so the case of a guy that's having by far above and beyond his best season in the MLB. And I think it's one of those situations where he's just happy to be here and making a difference on this ball club. So whatever role that has to come in, I feel like Eric Lauer is the type of guy that is willing and up for anything. And yes, I think in the back of his mind, maybe he's thinking a little bit like, hey, I've done this all year. But you're also going against some guys that are veterans that have not only done this one season, but have done this their entire careers and have maybe put their mark. And I'm not saying that that's the right way or the wrong way that this Toronto Blue Jays should go, because I've said my complaints on the whole Eric Lauer piece, and I've also said my understandings of the situation. But I think just from Eric Lauer's point of view, and obviously I'm not speaking for him, but if I was in this situation where I have just put myself in a position to be back in the MLB and having my best season by far, and on a team that's contending for a World Series, I think you got to just be thrilled to be a part of it too.
Yeah, John Schneider did say that this is a temporary move. I don't really know how they go away from this. Like, you already moved somebody to the bullpen. Are you going to move him back to the starting rotation? That's something completely different. But with Eric Lauer, I think at this point in his career, like he's not a rookie in this league anymore. And kind of like you said, he's not getting removed out of the starting rotation for Jacob Barnes. Like these are competent veterans that can be very effective pitching for the Toronto Blue Jays. And if he's worried about a contract, like he's had the sample size now enough in the season that he's going to get paid this offseason. Somebody will sign him for a multi-million-dollar contract. Hopefully he gets some term in that contract as well. Like this was kind of Eric Lauer's prove it year. And he definitely proved that he can be a competent major league starter. So now he's kind of just showing off the versatility, going out of the bullpen, maybe becoming a starter, maybe going in some long relief as well. We'll have to see how John Schneider does deploy Eric Lauer. But I think you're right. I think he's just at the point where all these guys kind of seem like they're in the same boat. They're all in. They have one focus. It's just to win. That's all these guys want to do. A lot of veterans on this team. Obviously, a lot of young players that want to play for the veterans as well. So the team's in unison right now. And I don't think Eric Lauer, making a fuss about going to the bullpen is going to be a wise move for his mentality or just the team in general. So, no, I don't think he's that mad about moving to the bullpen. But I'll throw it over to you, Brayden, for one of your questions or statements from the people.
Yeah, I had to throw Liam89 in here because this guy has been an avid listener to the podcast, and sometimes I just love his comments. And I feel like I'm on the same boat with him when it comes to this specific comment. I just wanted your reaction as well. I was not a fan of acquiring Ty France, but he's showed me wrong so far and is at least a good fill-in for Springer. This was when Springer was on the IL. But Ty France proving his worth is pretty much what the comment sums up to be, and more than we expected, Carter. Are you sort of in the same boat as that?
Yeah, I didn't hate the trade. I did not like Ty France. I will say I hated Ty France coming to the Toronto Blue Jays. I didn't really like him on the Mariners. Did not like him before he came to the Jays. Didn't really like him when he was on the Jays the first couple of games, but he came over here and just, was hot off the rip. Like every other Toronto Blue Jays hitter, it seems like, when they do have the opportunity. Like, I understood the thought process behind making this trade. At worst, you're going to get a guy that's a very good defensive substitution at first base, a guy that can pinch hit in clutch scenarios. Again, not a young guy that you can't hit against left-handed hitters. But Ty France comes in and is a productive hitter again. Maybe that's why it kind of just goes to show that you got to have to kind of take maybe some of the name value out of it, especially when it's a guy that, for me, like really no reason why I don't like Ty France. I'm not sure exactly what it was about his game. Maybe he just used to kill the Toronto Blue Jays and hit a lot of doubles against the Jays. Something must have happened. But yeah, Ty France has been a pleasant surprise, at least for me. I think that was kind of a common theme around Toronto Blue Jays media, at least the side of Twitter that I was on, was that not a lot of people like Ty France move. But hey, maybe that's just another reason why I'm not the GM of this baseball team.
That's right. Me and you, we sit here and we watch this team every day, but we're not paying as much attention to every other team like we are the Jays. But there are people within the organization, scouts and everything else, that do that, right? And so you got to have faith that the Blue Jays scouts and team understand their job and understand their duties and understand who is a good fit. And obviously, they hit the nail on the head with Ty France. I think this ended up being a good move. Carter, but I'll send it over to you for the next one.
Yeah, this one is just about the recent move of Brayden Fisher. We did kind of debrief that on the podcast here, but Boo Must Die 3406. That's an interesting name right there. But you can't lose an MLB quality reliever this late in the season. Fisher has to go to the minors for a week. Big deal. Fluharty is still the second pen lefty. Lauer is pitching on Friday for the first clean inning after Bieber is out. If I was betting man, I would say Bieber goes 5 1/3. Random pen righty goes 2/3 of an inning, and then 3 innings from Eric Lauer. Jays win 7-3. So, like when we kind of talked about it on the podcast, like initially when I saw it, I was a little bit, again, more reactionary at that point. You kind of break it down. Like, you're not going to DFA Tommy Nance because of the performance that he did have. Again, I don't mind sending down Mason Fluharty, but the guy that's, kind of gained that confidence back, you want to ruin that by sending him back down. This team does have, like we always talk about, the circle of trust, at least for right-handed pitchers. There's a bunch of guys that you can go out in the 7th and the 8th inning and pitch these guys. Brayden Fisher has been very good. And again, once the rosters expand, that's easily the first guy that they're pulling right back up. So again, one of those temporary moves. But again, maybe it's a temporary move like Eric Lauer being the bullpen. Maybe it's one of those temporary moves that turns into a move that just, exists. But again, baseball has injuries. So I think Brayden Fisher, we'll see him at some point before the end of the season.
Mark your calendar, September 1st, Brayden Fisher back with the Toronto Blue Jays. That's 100%. I'm in the same boat as you. This is a guy that's going to pitch again for this team. It was just a by circumstance. We have to send somebody down until that deadline. And you know what? It's less than a week away, or about a week away, just over a week, I guess it would be. So he's going to be right back with this team. I got no real big worries on that. And I think he's a guy that will come back and he'll be just as good before he left.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what you got to hope for the Toronto Blue Jays. You just want everyone to be as good as they possibly could be, especially getting hot right now. You want the Toronto Blue Jays to start heating up as a baseball team because this is maybe still a little bit too early to get hot, but you ride some of that momentum in the playoffs. Doesn't necessarily matter what your record is. You know, if you have 100 wins, if you have 85 wins, you get to the dance, you're playing good baseball, things are going to work out for you pretty well. So this is just another question from just one of our friends because we've had a ton of baseball games over the last few weeks. We've had a lot of opportunities to talk to our friends about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm going to fire two at you quick because one of them is just kind of like a quick answer and a little bit of a funnier one. And then I do have a serious one. So I'll start with the funny one. Who wins in a race? You or Alejandro Kirk? We kind of saw the wheels being displayed. Oh, come on. Kirk's got you beat. Even if
it's me.
Alejandro Kirk could be like the Mr. Freeze, the guy that, just absolutely rips from pole to pole. And I think he could give you that extra boost and give you that head start. And Alejandro Kirk's still chasing you down.
Kirk is the reverse Mr. Freeze. The guy you have to give him a 70-yard head start.
He's the road runner, man. He'd be on you, and it happened very quickly. I think have you stolen a base? I don't think you've stolen a base, have you?
Not in the major leagues, no.
You
know what? If I were to lose to a race to Alejandro Kirk, I will do a double 999 challenge for whenever or never that comes to fruition. So, but no, that's a terrible comment.
Well, as Matthew said, those 999 challenges are kind of getting to you. Maybe the reason that you look 47 on the podcast. I absolutely love that joke when I look back, looking at some of the comments that we were going to use in this episode. But for that, I guess the more present question, the question that actually matters for this podcast a little bit more it is about the starting pitching once again. Well, it's just who is going to be the best starting pitcher down the stretch. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be your starter. Maybe it's Chris Bassitt. He works his way into that playoff rotation. So for you, is it Max Scherzer? Is it Shane Bieber? Somehow, is it take a flyer and pick Alek Manoah? Like, who do you got for the Toronto Blue Jays down the stretch?
So I'm going to take this in a little bit of a different direction. I am going to say the guy that's going to find his game again, or be more the pitcher we assumed they were going to be. Because I think Max Scherzer, is going to be Max Scherzer. Shane Bieber, I think, comes back with a vengeance and is great. I think Kevin Gausman. I think you're going to see Kevin Gausman really turn it up and be the Kevin Gausman we wanted him to be all season. I think he's worked out a lot of problems over this entire season. I think he's going to be a guy that moving into a playoff scenario is going to really dial things in. And you're going to see Kevin Gausman be the Kevin Gausman we wanted.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to see that. We have started to see flashes of that Kevin Gausman splitter being effective. The fastball's really been good for the last, I'd say, month and a half, 2 months. Like, we've really seen that velocity come back for Gausman, but a very important pitcher for this starting rotation. Again, you got some question marks with some of these other guys. It's getting a little bit more clear with guys like Max Scherzer, but Shane Bieber, what are you going to get from him? Chris Bassitt and Jose Berrios have been inconsistent. Kevin Gausman in himself has been a little bit inconsistent, but that is a guy that we need to be reliable, especially in a playoff scenario, if we expect this team to do absolutely anything during the playoffs. Get another quick one here. I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight too. Just who's going to lead the Toronto Blue Jays in home runs by the time everything is said and done. Just so you know, George Springer and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. are tied at 21. Aston Barger does have 18. Bichette has 16, and then Daulton Varsho has 13. If you have anyone else, that's an absolute flyer. So good on you if you have somehow end up guessing that. But for you, again, just quick answer here. Who has the most home runs for the Toronto Blue Jays in 2025?
Ernie Clement. No, it's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We've seen him consistently get better and better and better post All-Star break. The guy is absolutely going on a tear. I think as soon as he gets back from injury, which we're hoping is today, I think he's going to do damage, and he's going to prove to people why this is a special and different year. And I think if anybody was the person to be able to do that and to prove to the fans that this is a team to ride behind in the playoffs, I think it's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's going to have to make a big stamp moving into the playoffs. So Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
That'd be big for the Toronto Blue Jays. I think a lot of people would be on board with that, but I'm going to go with Unk. I'm going to go with the guy that everyone seemed to be doubting this entire season, whether it's, coming back for a concussion, be 35 and in the major leagues, having one of your worst career seasons the year before. He's overcoming the odds. So why can't he be the guy that hits hopefully a bunch of home runs? Like, hopefully this doesn't end at 23 and it's George Springer. Hopefully, we start pushing 30, like George Springer pushing 35. So hopefully maybe George Springer reaches age in home runs. Imagine how good of an end of season that would be. Every other game for George Springer. Sign me up for that. That would be an electric September. It's not Botember anymore. It's the September Springer. Is maybe this? I was going to say summer or Springer. Summer's almost over. It's kind of a sad transition, I guess, to go into this third segment. The Toronto Blue Jays have another series against the Miami Marlins. Maybe a little bit of a trap series, a team that can be sneaky, a team that can overcome the odds. We just saw the Toronto Blue Jays lose to the Pittsburgh Pirates in a series, so anything is possible. We want the Toronto Blue Jays to get back on track, and we'll dive into this entire series after this short break.
Carter, I did have one more for you, but I think I'm going to save it for our next off day because it might lead us into a bit of a bigger conversation, especially talking about the six-man rotation, the bullpen, everything. And I think it might do that. So I was going to throw it in. I was going to stop you, but I figure, you know what? I'm just going to save that one, even though it's a great comment. And I'll leave it here. I'll leave the person that wrote it. That's E. Ritchie. So E. Ritchie, your comment was fantastic. And I want to talk about it on we have a little bit more time and don't have a series to preview. So, Carter, in saying that, I'm not sure if you have the pitcher probables pulled up for this series. Obviously, we know Shane Bieber is number one, but do you have for the rest of the series?
I only have the third one. I've been kind of looking for the other two. I know it's Yuri Perez in the third game of the series. I don't have a to be determined on the other two. I don't know if you can pull up the score right now, but the MLB.com site they usually use does not have any of these series. So maybe the Miami Marlins trying to get one up here on our Toronto Blue Jays, but. Yeah, so I'm determined for the first game of the series. Usually it's the reverse. Usually get the first game and probably the second game, but you don't get the third game. I only got Yuri Perez. But Sandy Alcantara. Oh, there you go. You got him.
Junk is game two.
All right, okay, so you got the second one as well. We don't have the first one for some reason. Interesting. I know Alcantara's not pitching in this series, so that is good for the Toronto Blue Jays. You won't be getting the ace of the Marlins staff. So again, the pitching is not going to be the problem. You want your offense to kind of go off of the slump that they kind of had here in the Pirate series. You want them to get back. You got Shane Bieber. You got a few starters for the Toronto Blue Jays here that you hope to see good stuff from. But yeah, I'll throw it over to you, at least for the Toronto Blue Jays side of this series preview.
Yeah, and interesting, the score obviously not super updated, so that Junk could maybe not be pitching because they have Eric Lauer still in there for game two, and we all know that ain't happening. That's going to be the Jose Berrios start. Kevin Gausman will go the following game. So in saying that, I'm going off the board. I'm going a full-on Jays comeback. Vlad's back in the lineup. A day of Shane Bieber. Give me the Jays sweep, Carter.
Yeah, maybe a little bold, but I mean, you like the bold predictions. So hope the Toronto Blue Jays jump back on track. I mean, I'm not going to complain about a sweep whatsoever here. I think, again, baseball happens. The Toronto Blue Jays will drop one of these games. I have no idea which one is going to be. I think it's just going to be one of those games. The Toronto Blue Jays don't have it. It's going to happen at some point. I'll just say it's the second game, I guess. We'll throw it kind of right in the middle. You win the first game, you win the third game, you get out of there. Just with the series win 2-1. Sign me up for that. Probably staying 4.5 games, hopefully on top of the New York Yankees. Maybe you get some favors done by some other teams. But like we kind of talked about, the Yankees schedule isn't doing the Toronto Blue Jays many favors, at least for the next couple series. We'll do some favors for them down the road. But a big series, the Yankees Red Sox actually over this weekend. So we'll get a clear cut number 2, hopefully emerging here. And we'll have some scoreboard watching that we will continue to do for the rest of the season. But big series for the Toronto Blue Jays. Hopefully can gain some ground, at least on one of the teams, pretty much given. But Brayden, you got anything else to add before we kind of jump into this weekend episode, our playoff, slow pitch weekend? So Blue Jays will be playing baseball. We'll be playing baseball. It's the baseball weekend day here for Locked On Blue Jays.
Yeah, and hopefully you guys stick around for tomorrow's episode. It was a lot of fun. I don't want to spoil anything. Stay tuned for that one. It probably I'm going to say later in the night, I'll have it posted as a premiere so you guys can actually see who it is and be able to tune in and, whatever. Watch it with your morning coffee, on your drive to work, whatever it is. We want to start doing more of this kind of stuff where it's, the little bit of extra content. We're always trying to push more and more. Next week, we should also be back on the post-game TikTok reactions and shorts and reels and whatever else. So it was just a crazy 2-week span here for me and Carter with baseball and the golf tournaments and everything. So we were just doing a lot. We were working crazy hours as well. So it was
just wrapping up the summer. That's pretty much what was happening. Next week, we don't have any more golf tournaments. We don't have any more slow pitch. Like all the fun summer activities are kind of coming to a halt a little bit, which is good for the podcast, obviously good for the content side of things, but it's a little bit more depressing because now winter just feels ever more closer. And what comes with winter? No more Toronto Blue Jays baseball. But hey, hopefully we got a World Series title to celebrate in the winter to make it fly by a little bit quicker. But I just wanted to say, at least, thank you guys for watching. All the support we've gotten over, honestly, the last year and a half in totality, but especially over the last 3 or 4 months has been very much appreciated, whether it is a podcast, a short, a live stream. It could be a tweet, and just the reception we are getting has been unbelievable. We appreciate every single one of you guys that is coming back, listening to the podcast, all of those videos, any of the content that we do post. But we will be back with you guys on Monday, hopefully after a series win. And like Brayden said, I think we'll be jumping for joy if we can get that series sweep. We'll talk to you guys on Monday.
Yeah, and I actually like I said, I get to talk to you guys tomorrow. So there you go.
There we go.